Welcome back to the AdobeLive.com live stream from AdobeMAX 2016, and we're live from San Diego. And for the next hour, we're together with Michael Flarup.
Hello, guys.
Yeah, I have only Danish guests today.
Yep.
So I had Maria Grönlund an hour ago, and now I have you.
It's a tough act to follow.
So what's up with Danes? You know.
Actually, me and Maria is the only. I think we should have more Danes in the lineup.
Danes.
Yeah, it's
okay.
We're the only two Danes in the lineup right now. So.
Are there any Danes in the chat? Show some Danish love here.
Yeah.
And yes, so Michael.
Yes.
Max 2016. What's your key takeaway? I mean, we're on day 3. This is the last day for us in San Diego. When are you flying back?
Yeah, I'm flying back tomorrow.
Tomorrow. Okay.
Yeah, just enough. I've spent just enough time here to combat the jet lag and get jet lag all over again when I go back home. It's amazing.
Yeah, that's why I prefer one-day trips.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway.
So I've learned 3 things at Max actually this year. I think it can be summarized by 3 things. Gather the crowd, shout it aloud, creative cloud. That's
the 3 things.
That's the takeaway.
That's your key takeaway.
Yes,
okay.
yes. Amazing.
All right. So, Michael, why don't you tell us a little bit about you and what you do and what...
Sure.
Yeah.
So, actually, I have kind of a complaint because I'm being typecast. Yes, I am being asked to do the same thing over and over again.
Okay.
So I'm a designer, and I've freelanced for 15 years, and I've worked as a product designer for 10 years. We've made some award-winning games. I've started my own companies, built some really fun UI, have millions of users on our utility apps, even built hardware. And and people.
It's called the Flarup X100.
Yes, that's the one. But every year it's like, that's all great, Michael. We'd like you to talk about app icons.
Icons.
Yeah, app icons, and I love app icons. Like it's truly one of my passions. I'm not complaining. It's a cornerstone.
You are complaining. So
yeah, just a little bit.
So
I wonder what we'll talk about today at this live stream.
Right. And so, what is it you would like to talk about?
Yeah, I would love to give a talk about game design next year.
Okay. Max 2017. Tune back in, and we'll be talking to Michael about game design.
I'm gonna hold you to that. I mean, let's talk about app icons. I love making app icons. Yeah, I can. Is my screen shared now?
Yeah, your screen is being shared.
That's
don't worry.
good.
Don't look at that. This is like the delay.
Just maybe to get. We have a whole hour, so we can banter and we can joke, but just to get people familiar with some of the stuff that I do. As I said, I've been freelancing for 15 years. I've got a small one-man band at pixelresort.com, and the stuff...
So it's a lonely resort.
It's a very lonely resort, but sometimes people visit. The sort of stuff that I do is, I mean, there's obviously a lot of icons there. That is one of my passions. A lot of UI design, a lot of product design. And I do these type of things where I have a love for color, for tactility. I think if you look through some of my work, that's kind of like the consistency. I love making things that are fun and silly. So you guys can check out pixelresort.com and sort of get an idea of what I do.
If you put it in here.
Yeah, link that up in the chat. Other than that, I think my career right now is kind of divided into 2 major pillars. So I am doing this, Pixel Resort, and a bunch of sort of side projects. And one of those things is kind of like, I'm really interested in teaching design. And obviously coming to events like this and giving talks on app icons and other things is part of that. But also just kind of demystifying design in a way. I have a YouTube channel where I talk to people about making things.
Okay.
And
let me find that YouTube channel.
Yeah, you can do that.
You go on.
Yeah. I'll
know
continue. I'm apparently not connected to the internet, but
oh, you're not? Oh, wait. Let me. Let me
actually,
give you this.
I think I might have the press.
Okay.
I'll try.
Get you connected.
Yeah. Anyways, no, I'm not.
Okay, take this.
Plugged it directly into the system. I'm hooked in.
All right.
Actually, I preloaded the site, but so as part of that whole endeavor of trying to empower people and teach design, I have a resource platform that I call applypixels.com, where I make these industry standard design tools. So people might know that from these icon templates that I do. There's other kinds of templates, and there's a bunch of Photoshop files there, in-depth videos, and you can go to applypixels.com and check those things out. They're really helpful for people trying to get a head start on this, and even for seasoned designers, but certainly also for developers who wants to make their icons or screenshots or whatever for the first time. So yeah, and it's a subscription service.
Mm-hmm.
I gave the original templates away for 5 years, and finally took the leap and made it a sustainable platform. And it's been going for 2 months now, and it's grown, and lots of new templates have sort of arrived, and it's a really fun part of my career right now. So all of those things, the Pixel Resort, the teaching of design, the YouTube channel, the Apply Pixel stuff is about teaching design and demystifying design. So that's one pillar of my career.
Apply Pixels, I'll find that.
Yeah, applypixels.com. And I'll show you some of this stuff later. I'll show you some of the tools. I'll if you guys stay, if you have plans for the next hour, drop them. Call your mom. You can't go. You have to stay here. I'll give out some discount codes for licenses, so don't sign up yet if you're looking at this. Yeah, that's one pillar of my career. The other pillar of my career is I've recently started a really fun little company called Northplay, and actually kind of had some stuff to show you guys here. Let me show you. This is the keynote I gave the other day. 200 slides.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. It was crazy. But I just want to home in and kind of show you this. So yeah, so Northplay is this small design entertainment studio focused on making like games and gamification, essentially all kinds of content that needs to be made more fun. So we do some tvOS stuff, and just we're like 5 people now, and we're working on our first game. So that's really fun, and also to get to show some of that stuff here.
So maybe once you're done with your first game, people will ask you to talk about gaming.
That's what I'm hoping. That's what I'm hoping, right? I can give you a little preview of what we're working on. So we're working on a game called Conduct This. I have a 2-year-old son, and he loves trains. So it's a train, it's an action train puzzle simulator, and I got a little video showing some stuff here. So yeah, it's for mobile, Android and iOS, and it's a really hectic little low poly style game where you control these trains. So you get this little world, and you have trains sort of coming in, and you need to transport passengers from one station to another station, and just kind of
the graphics.
It's so nice. It's one of my good friends, Lopoco is his internet name, who does these, and he's amazingly good. So you got the trains here, you're kind of stopping them, and then stuff like that can happen, right? You're trying to get people a safe commute, but it doesn't always happen like that.
Work.
No. So it's a really fun little game, and if you go to conductthis.com,
it can end in a pixel tragedy.
It can. It gets a little gory, but in a kid-friendly way, I think. But yeah, at conductthis.com, we kind of have like developer diaries.
That open water bottle is giving me anxiety.
Oh. I'll close it. I'll close it just for you. No, yeah, but as we often do, we kind of do these developer diaries. So we have like some really fun videos on the website conductthis.com where you can sort of see us fumbling our way. We've been working on it for 9 months now, and yeah, it's hilarious. It's really fun. Check that out. Those are my 2 things that I do right now. I do design and talks and resources and all those things, and I do games and gamification.
Yes.
That's what I do.
Okay, we got that.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. You want to talk about games next time.
So should we talk about no? So actually, I really do like talking about app icons, and I think it's a great thing to talk about because it's something where you, with very little effort, can actually make a huge impact on products. So yeah,
actually that's very true. The design of the icon of the app I'm about to buy determines whether I'm going to buy it or not. Because if it's a flimsy icon, I'm not so sure. I would go read the reviews. If it's a super cool icon, I may not even read the reviews and just buy it.
People are wired like that, right? And yeah, that's why I gave a 75-minute session on app icon design. Right? I'm not going to sum all of it up here, but there's a lot of things to consider when you're doing this stuff, and it shouldn't be an afterthought. I have these 5 core aspects that I like to talk about, and I have like this whole theory built up. And if you come to one of my sessions at some point, if I still do talks about app icons,
yes.
Or you can find them online. You can find them on my YouTube channel. Actually, that's the talk I gave last year at Max. You can go and find that if you want to really get into
the talks that that are, I think all talks have been recorded here at Max 2016, so these will be available as well.
Yeah, definitely look out for that.
So you can watch his 75-minute talk about not app design, but icon design.
Yeah, actually, I kind of hijacked that whole session. I interjected about 100 slides of just showing fun stuff before, but people seemed to like it, so it was good. So yeah, definitely go check out that session. It was an amazing session.
Cool.
I thought I had walked into the wrong room, because last year I was kind of a late addition to the team, and they gave me a fairly small room. There's 100 people, and it was kind of like classroom style thing, lovely. So this year I was kind of walking around looking for a room of that size, and I stumbled into this ballroom. I was like, oh, I must be in the wrong room. They're like, no, you're Michael. You have this is your room. I was like, this is gonna be so embarrassing because we're only gonna be able to fill up the first two rows.
Yeah,
instead. So yeah, and this is actually what happened. I have a video right here to show you guys. Let me show you, audience. I was just amazed. I had to put up a camera and time lapse the whole thing. Are you guys seeing my screen?
Yeah. Don't
awesome.
worry.
So people just started piling into the room, right? And we didn't fill it entirely, but there was hundreds of people there. And it was just...
So, seeing that, maybe you should be talking about icon design and game design.
Yeah, that's
like both.
Yeah, and actually that's what I did at this session. So yeah, definitely. It was a really fun session. Go and check that out. We had a blast. So yeah. What do you want to talk about? What should we do? What should we do? We've got time, right?
Yeah, let's go into icon design.
Let's talk about icon design. Yeah. Actually, I brought some files. We can try to play around with the...
People want that wallpaper.
Yes, I thought you would, right? I'm gonna upload it somewhere, and if you follow me on Twitter, my Twitter handle is my last name @Flarup.
Flarup?
Yeah,
okay.
I'll link that because it's amazing. Obviously, Jason is amazing. I still have that song stuck in my head.
Yeah. So do many.
Yeah. No, so I brought some. I brought a tiny demo that I gave at the session, and I thought we could kind of play around with that, and just as an example of how we could improve an icon. And actually, I've got a little setup for it here, because when I was doing this very, very long slideshow here, I was like, okay, we have maybe about 20 minutes for the actual demo, right? And it's always nerve-wracking doing a demo in front of like a couple hundred people.
Yes.
But I was like, what could we possibly do in 20 minutes? What could we improve, right? It's a very sassy thing, really, to say that you want to improve some existing work in 20 minutes. It's kind of cocky, actually.
Okay.
I was like, oh, can we really do this? But then I kind of looked around, and
people actually want to see the process, how you make icons.
Exactly, and I was like, what could we do in those 20 minutes? Then I looked at my phone, and I saw this, right? The people in the live stream probably don't have this app because this is the official AdobeMAX app. That's the one from last year.
Okay.
So someone literally just kind of changed the hue of it.
Okay.
So yep, exactly. It looks like this, right?
Hue changing, yes.
And if you had been to my session, you would have known the first 3 things that were wrong with this app icon, right? It has to do with scalability. It doesn't scale very well. It's not very legible. And usually I try to have people stay away from having words in there. I know that this is kind of like a logo, right?
Yeah.
But it still spells out Max. It says AdobeMAX right underneath it. So it's kind of like, when I look at it, right? That's why I feel. So, and also when you look at the other Adobe icons, the mobile suite of icons, they're actually really good. Like whoever makes those, keep it up. I like the consistent style of it. So it's kind of sad that the Disneyland of conferences, the best place to be, AdobeMAX, has this as their sort of native app icon for the otherwise not very good app. So let's see if we can kind of improve this, right? Yeah. So first of all, it kind of looks like this, and also in amongst other icons. I mean, you're probably watching this on maybe on a computer screen, and it seems okay. But when it's on a phone, it's really small. I can't really make it out, right? So we want to make something that is more legible. It scales better, has better contrast, but also maybe doesn't have to spell out Max, right? So if I wanted to do that, what I could do is I'll go to applypixels.com, and I'm not sure if I'm connected to the internet right now, but you can find a template called iOS app icon. And
that's the funny thing with the color red, is that it.
Oh, that looks amazing.
Yeah, it's like
yeah. Okay, well we'll live with that.
Illuminati effect.
Okay, yeah, that's good. So anyways, yeah, go to applypixels.com, and from there you can get the templates.
Somebody says, you check your emails, holy moly.
Yeah, I know. I'm at a conference. People keep writing me. I'm like, I'm here, I'm walking around, I'm meeting people, I'm out late at the bash last night. Like, I'm slightly hungover. I do not answer my emails when I'm at conferences.
Yeah.
But I hear you. So yeah, you download the template, and the template file kind of looks like this. You get like a folder with a Photoshop file, and there's some actions there, and you can import the actions. They're going to make it really easy for you to spit out all the many different sizes that you're going to need when you're delivering your app icon.
For various iOSs, or
yeah, for all the basically all of iOS. And also just like this example, I'll be talking about iOS, but lots of other templates here, Android templates. Many other things in here, but opening up the file, it kind of looks like this. So let's just go full screen on this. Jason is kind of distracting me there in the background. And it looks like this. And you can see all the many different sizes kind of rendered out automatically. And there's some previews there if you want to see your icon in the native environment. And the idea behind most of my templates is actually to automate as many things as possible. So the way I've done that is I've created a bunch of nested smart objects. So you actually only need to edit the largest size, which is this one right out here. And I'm just going to hit Edit Contents. And here you can then create your icon, and I recreated the wonderful Max icon. And if I save it out, it'll take a few seconds. And I close the file, boom. All of the sizes are rendered out, and you can see it, the previews and all the different things. So that's pretty good. It's a good start. You now have the whole setup in just a few seconds of sort of creating icons. The smart object here comes with a bunch of like building blocks with like all the colors that's native to iOS, and all the grids and the guides and all those things. So it's pretty easy to get started. So anyways, when you need to make an icon, you have like this whole conceptual phase first, right, where you kind of try to come up with a concept for the whole thing.
Do you sketch?
I sketch a lot, actually. I kind of brought my sketch pad. Some people sometimes likes to see that, so I thought that would be cool.
No, I love sketch pads.
Yeah.
That's where the ideas start.
Yep.
No, actually it starts in here.
Yeah, it probably does. Yeah. Yeah, I sketch a lot, and I have a whole like 20-minute video on YouTube on why it's important to sketch, even if you're afraid of sketching. Because, to be honest, for the first many years of my career, I didn't sketch. I didn't like sketching. I might sketch in secret, but I never thought I was very good at drawing. So it really took me a while to sort of get out. I know a lot of people feel that way. It took me a lot of time to sort of get on the other side of that and figure out that it's actually a really important tool that you'll use, right? So when I sketch icons, this is actually client work I'll be showing now, but I hope that I'm not under NDA. Okay, can you guys see this? Is there?
Yeah, they can see it.
That's good. I've got text on here, and they're zooming in and all. So yeah, just stuff like this where I'm kind of sketching out ideas. I might put them on a grid and kind of just try to see if something catches my eye. And I like to, when I work with clients, I like to sort of give them a lot of options in terms of sketches. It's much harder to give them options later on, but sketches are cheap, right? It's a good way to explore some things. And there are many ways to do sketches. I've found that good old pen and paper actually works really well for me, because as soon as you start to move in the spectrum of more fidelity, in the sketches, like let's say you drew them in Photoshop or whatever, people start to ask other types of questions because they see that the rendering, it seems more perfect, right? So they'll have questions about colors, So if you can keep your sketches as low fidelity as possible, like you can really people kind of know instinctively, like this isn't the finished product, right? So we're just talking conceptually, and you get them in that right frame of mind, right? But yeah, lots of stuff like this. Yeah, so that's usually how I start.
Another question that came up is that your templates are all in Photoshop. Could they be in Illustrator?
Yeah, so I get that question a lot. It's an interesting thing, right? First of all, I want to say, prefacing everything, you should use the tools that you're most comfortable with. I always feel like that, and there is really no right tool for the job. But that being said, all icons, not talking about SVG or web or stuff like that, but all the app icons, icons on your desktop, on your mobile, the deliveries that you give to your developer who's going to work with them, they're raster based. It is raster based outputs. It's 1024 by 1024 or 512 by 512 or 120 by 120. So it's a raster based output. And for that, I personally prefer a raster-based application. So that's why I use Photoshop. I use Illustrator sometimes for it's a completely superior pathing, a pathfinder tool. So I can jump into Illustrator and show how I use that in a second. But for the final sort of export, I use Photoshop. I also have other off-brand templates on the site that you can go and check out for some of the other things. There might be Illustrator stuff in the future. The whole idea behind Apply Pixels is that the subscription kind of means that you get continually updated templates because these things change. It's kind of like software in many ways. So new sizes are introduced, and it's like software. They have bugs or whatever, and then new templates are added every month. So you kind of it's like a designer goodie bag that you subscribe to, and then people kind of get these life-saving resources. So, anyways, that was a good question though. And just ask questions, it's cool.
Okay, no, that's what the chat is for, and that's why it's so cool to be live.
Yeah, exactly. Otherwise, I'll just be sitting here talking all day. Anyways, we're looking at this app icon. What could we possibly be doing, right? What would be the sort of stuff that we could do to improve it? Well, first of all, I think it's a little too complex. I think there's just too much in there. I love the max shapes and all that, but it's not scaling properly, and that's one of the core concepts of icon designs, like having something that scales properly. So what I actually would like to do, if maybe I would have sketched first, but now we're live with doing this whole thing here, and I think I would like to focus on one of these shapes and just only use that shape. It says AdobeMAX underneath the icon. I just want a strong pictorial sort of an image, right? And I like the X. I think that's a neat, fun little shape. You can do some interesting things with lighting. So if you want to kind of create something like that, I've kind of started here already, but jumped into Illustrator.
You're in Illustrator?
I'm in Illustrator, yeah. This was not scripted at all. So I might copy this and just reflect it. Just reflecting it horizontally.
Yeah, people in the chat are talking my microphone is too low, but normally I have the loud voice.
Yeah, and today it's me.
You have a louder voice.
Yeah. Yeah. So now we have something that kind of looks like it. I would also like to get that shape there in the middle. So I might be able to copy this whole thing, and then I use the only real thing I use in Illustrator. I'm an Illustrator noob. Like the only thing I really use in Illustrator is actually path. Where did you go? Where did you go? Pathfinder, right there.
Okay.
Yep. And I use that to kind of to subtract shapes from each other and kind of make make some cutouts like these ones here, for example. So now I kind of have that little last piece of the puzzle there. And yeah, this was just to illustrate how I work with Illustrator. I think Illustrator is cool for this sort of stuff, and there's obviously some really talented people who works with Illustrator. And so what I do is I usually copy those shapes into Photoshop, and let's just kind of let's hide that, and let's see if we can do kind of make something that's a little cooler, right? So oh yes, another thing.
Oh my God, what is this?
Woo!
What is this?
I don't know.
Happening?
Someone just bombed the whole thing.
Yeah.
I love you guys.
No, Michael's running a giveaway in the background without telling us.
That's why. Just type out "I love you, Michael," and Michael over here will give you some prizes.
Yes, because he's not talking about Michael Flarup. He's talking about Michael Chess.
Yeah,
he's talking about,
it's all of those Michaels. I still love you guys. No, I wanted to show one last thing before we sort of dive into it. So I want to do that shape, the X shape. That's what we want to do for the improvement of the icon. And I want to look at something. I usually look at inspiration, right? I actually think that these the mobile icons are pretty cool that Adobe is doing, which is why it's so baffling that the Max icon looks the way it does, right? So I kind of like that, and this was a shot I took from last year's Max. I kind of like those colors. There's some cool hues there, right when Project Comet, now XD, was introduced. So yeah, just kind of, there's something about this, right? I want the new Max icon that we're making right now to feel more like those, right? And maybe a little bit like that.
Feel like an Adobe mobile app.
Yeah, is that too much to ask? So that's the inspiration we're going for, right? So I like, first of all, this is like a cooking program. I cheated, right? I made something at home. But let's go with like an inner body first of all, and here I've sort of just created a mask, and we have that frame that the Adobe icons are so like known for, and I've then copied in the shape from Illustrator here in the middle, boom, like that. It's pretty flat. It's still interesting. Let's save it out and see what happens. Just to kind of, it's a good idea to just kind of reality check, have you even improved something? Is it even better, right?
Yeah.
Is it more legible? Is it more interesting? We're saving it out. I'm sad my new MacBook didn't arrive for this. I'm sorry. So yeah, I think this is kind of interesting. We can go back and forth here. We can look at the old one and the new one. There's definitely something there. I think we can do better, but it's a good step in the right direction. So if we jump back in, so maybe if you've seen some of my work, you know that I'm a huge fan of like tactility and gradients and color and those little details and things like that. So I tried to see if I could apply that to this concept here, and kind of came up with maybe using the gradient from that picture there that I showed you guys, that picture. Maybe using kind of eye-dropping the gradient there. I really like that color. And having that as the background, and then doing something more with the logo. I wanted to stand out a little more. I wanted to create a little more a sense of depth and tactility, right? So maybe something like that would be cool. So essentially, we've taken the different triangles and applied a lot of different effects to them, right? So I'm using a ton of layer styles because I'm a layer styles kind of guy.
Yeah. And do you name them?
I don't. I'm horrible. I'm horrible at naming them, and you can all see right now. It's for everyone to see. But yeah, I'm using blending modes, lots of different blending modes to sort of burn and dodge the colors to make it more interesting. And there's actually quite a few things going on in here. Let me just zoom in for you guys to see. So here we've got a gradient overlay. We're kind of deconstructing this. We have time, right?
Yeah, totally.
And meanwhile, you'll come up with killer questions for me. I know. But yeah, I'm giving. It's just a simple gradient overlay. It's multiply, and it's not. Notice how it's not completely dark, but it's kind of like an off dark blue color. I think that gives like some more like realistic shadows in a way. Shadows are rarely completely black. And that's basically what's going in there and creating that sense of depth. Without it, it's completely flat. As soon as you add it, it kind of gives this origami-like look, which I think is what they're going for. We're just helping it a little bit, right? And there's also a bunch of other cool stuff. So you might not even see this, right? It's so hard to see. But a subtle bevel that just kind of adds a little bit of a highlight to the top piece of the shape there. I love doing stuff like that. I got a vibrance layer over all of this just to amp up the vibrance. Again, I'm addicted to color, and I'm actually I'm cheating a little bit here because I want this shape to kind of have like a glow, right? It has to look like it's glowing. So I got like a halo effect kind of going, and you could do that in many different ways. You can do it by having an outer glow. So you might, I'm not sure if you guys can actually even tell from the stream.
Yeah, you can see it.
But there's an outer glow here, and if I turn it off, it's kind of a little more sharp. And if you put it on there, it looks pretty cool. The outer glow is actually just an overlay, and it's white. Because what I do, and the reason why it's sort of burning into the green hue here, is that I use raster. I've painted on top of this with an overlay layer. So it's right here. I can remove it, see? So that it has kind of like a haze of like around the whole thing. I love stuff like that. Little things that kind of make the whole piece appear alive and tactile. And I spent way too long on kind of playing around that sort of stuff in my work. But that's things that I think is interesting, and I do that all over the shape. There's some stuff. There's some overall shading here. Another layer where I'm highlighting the edge, and then kind of just playing around with some like minor adjustments. Right, you never get enough of those details. Anyways, it's interesting at least. Let's try to save that out. See if we've improved anything.
So, good question is, so how would I print that out for my big logo in the expo?
Yeah.
Redo it.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm using shape layers in Photoshop, and they are filled with raster content. But you could actually blow this up. I think with very little work you would
vector.
have. So, I mean, it's vector outlines, but Photoshop kind of uses raster data to fill them with. So as soon as you add a gradient to it, you kind of need to use Photoshop to scale those things up, right? But again, yes, but I get that a lot from people kind of talking about icons. Like, yes, they need to be scalable. You know what? No, they need to look great at the exact sizes you need them in. That 120 by 120 pixel icon that goes on the home screen of your iPhone, that is the most important thing, right?
Yes.
It needs to look awesome, and you shouldn't trade that away for ease of scalability if you wanted to do a print of it one day, right? So I think that's the thing that people really need to think about with icons is you're creating these little gems of different sizes. That's the priority, right? But obviously, when you use shape layers like this, you can scale them, right? Anyways, let's close this up and see if did we improve anything, right? Okay, so now it looks like this. See, I think this starts to look a little more interesting. I would tap that. That's more tappable than the Max, the original Max sort of app icon. I don't know if you guys agree, but I think it's interesting. It's not the best app icon ever. We made it pretty quickly, but I think it has something, right? One last thing I want to show you, because this was actually, I cheated. I did this last year. That's why I used pictures from last year. But this year, we've all seen them, right? We've seen these wonderful banners, the new colors. I love them. They're amazing. So I thought, could we maybe do something like that? And I did something like that. So we can open up this file, hide this thing here, and I simply started by taking the gradient from the X part. I really like that gradient. That sort of, it looks like the sunrise or sunset gradient. Sunrise, probably sunrise. It looks really cool. Like the blue hues are fantastic. I love how it breaks off into almost slightly purple, little pink. And I brought those in and created a gradient that I liked. And for this one, I tried, like, let's not have the border. Let's just see if we can do something different, right? And then I created, I took the shape in again and added some new effects to it, and kind of came up with this origami thing. It's not as crazy looking as the other one, but I took some of those dark colors from that area over here, and then kind of brought those in and played around with the lighting layers and the gradients. To sort of create this thing, right? Also, by removing the border of this thing, I was able to kind of scale up the logo a little bit. So just to give a different kind of look, and you could play around with this forever. Yes. It's definitely not done, but it's just to show you how.
That's the thing.
The
playfulness is something I'd also came up with Maria earlier. Is that you can just spend hours, fiddling around with colors and trying things, and then I think where it becomes interesting is, and that's when that's when you are a designer or not a designer, is when you know when to stop.
Yeah.
Okay. And you say, okay, this is good.
Yeah.
Boom, and we can stop now.
Yeah.
Okay?
That's actually a problem that most of us have, right?
Yes.
Because we're just too perfectionistic.
Yes.
It's keeping a lot of designers from being more prolific. It's just getting stuff out there, getting feedback, iterating on it.
I like the way that looks.
So I think that's pretty cool. It's a different look. I mean, all of this little demo here was just to kind of show you how I think it's important that the tools kind of get out of the way so that you have time to, like, you shouldn't be like have to create all those little sizes and play around with those things. This kind of gives you a quick overview of like, yeah, it just empowers you to become a better iconist, really.
And just for those of you who have joined us a little bit later, all of these templates, of course, are available on
Apply Pixels.
Apply Pixels.
ApplyPixels.com. And do you have to? You haven't done your own giveaway yet, maybe?
No, I don't know.
I'll do a giveaway.
Michael's done a giveaway for Michael.
I'll do a giveaway. So for those of you joining, Apply Pixels is like this. It's still small. It's a growing resource with evolving UI kits and templates, and it's. I would like to think that I offer some pretty good support as well. I really try to stay in touch with people and try to help make their jobs easier. I want to hear if people want specific templates that for me to make. There's screenshot templates. There's UI kits for iOS and Android and stuff like that. So normally it's $9 a month. But
$9 a month.
$9 a month.
And this is this is a subscription service.
Yeah.
I know some of you in the chat are saying, "Oh, you have to pay for it."
Yeah.
Hell yeah! I mean, this is Michael's work, okay? And his work is also to maintain them, to update them for new OSs, and all of that. And you know what? The simplicity and the speed that you just create this one element, and suddenly all of your icons are made, and all the previews are made, all the mock-ups and everything. Well, you know, that saves you so much time that I think...
Yeah, I think if you use these, any of these resources, the icon ones or one of the other ones, in a commercial, in a commercial project, it's even if you've subscribed for a couple of months, it's still...
Yeah, absolutely.
It saves you a lot of time. But I would say people should make their own mind for themselves, and you can cancel any time. Like it's not like it's just files, right? You can get access to these things, and then you subscribe and cancel. You have access for 30 days, and see if you use them. And then just, you can resubscribe later if there's some new interesting templates that sort of pop up that you think you need. That is perfectly fine with me. The most important thing for me was just to make this into something that was sustainable for me.
Pavel says $9 is nothing for that quality of service.
Yeah. Also, it's directly connected to my phone. I receive there's a little nice little chat bubble on the side. I answer everything I can. I'm a one-man band, but I really try my best because I'm super passionate about making these tools. So, but what I wanted to get to is if you use, I made a discount code for you. If $9 was just a little too steep, you can get the first month for 50% off by using Max 2016, and you can tweet that code or whatever. I mean. It's when you're just a small like a setup like my own here. It's pretty hard to get the word out.
So how long did that discount code work for?
I haven't actually set an end date for it yet, but use it. I mean, use it within the next week. I think I'll probably pull it off. But that would probably bring you at about $4.50 to try it out. Yeah. And then I mean I can't do it much better than that.
No. I agree.
Yes. But if you have more questions, we can talk about the whole Apply Pixel stuff. I'm totally up for that. There's a lot of fun stuff there. You can go and check it out yourself. There's a lot of stuff we're not covering. Cool. That was the demo that I had.
Okay.
So, do you guys have any questions? Anything you want to talk about?
There's some questions about, you know, that's a question that comes up very frequently in these live streams is, where do you get your color inspiration and how do you figure these things out?
Yeah.
You know?
So that's a great question. And there's no one way of doing it. People have different ways of it. First of all, take inspiration from everywhere. Look at people who are really good at color work and kind of try to lure their tricks and their tactics. But also, like I just showed you, I take a lot of pictures. So if I see something I really like, for example, that picture I shot last year at the Max stage, it was like, whoa, that gradient just blew me away, right? I take that and you can easily kind of get those colors into Photoshop. There's also lots of little other tricks that you can use. Sometimes there's some people out there like Justin Messel who's doing like amazing color work. And he has like this blog post on how he does how he hacks this in a way. So there's people who actually they choose some colors that are kind of not random, but they're not really they're just kind of average colors. But then they use overlay and blend like they use different curves on top of them and do all these wonderful little levels and brightness and contrast, or some hue and saturation layers on top of those things to actually make sure that all of the colors that they've chosen are pushed in a certain direction. Check out Justin Messel's work.
And I also think
really
that
cool.
working with color is I don't think that's something that you're born with. It's something that takes practice, and we always say practice, practice, practice. Practice makes perfect.
Yeah.
Well, no, practice makes you get better. Let's say.
Elegantly.
Elegant.
Yeah.
Yes.
I agree.
Perfection is something that I just like the word perfect when something is perfect.
I think that's such a big part of what I talk about at these things, and what I talk about on my YouTube channel. I have this little series called Design With Me, where I take real world examples like clients who wrote me, and I just walk people through how I made them.
When you design with people?
I haven't live streamed yet. It's a little nerve-wracking to live stream, and it's kind of nice to be able to. I like to edit.
Okay.
I'm a big video guy. I usually vlog. There's a camera right to the side of me that's recording this whole thing. So yeah, and I'll do a vlog of my experiences here at Max. So you'll see me walking around all jet lagged with like my eyes all black, and it'll be amazing. But yeah, what I was saying is like design is a job, right? It is a job. It's not something magical in the sense that a few people, it's just for the people who are able to draw in school or something like that. Yeah. I really dislike that. I think and there's also a lot of stuff inside the industry where we keep things to ourselves. Some people keep things to themselves. And it's very protective in its nature of techniques and all these things. And I just think it's our common goal, and we should aspire to bring more people into the industry and have new designers.
And you know what? One thing is that I've seen a trend now that the more successful designers, especially of these new generations that that leverage social media, that leverage YouTube, that leverage Behance, are those who share their tips and tricks. Okay, because there is no secrets, there is no special way of doing things, and I think yes, it can always happen that then somebody will take your icon and use it, and I don't know if that's happened to you.
Yeah, of course, stuff like that happens, but
it doesn't matter.
Everything's a remix, right? I mean, don't be too worried about these sort of things. So I also really feel like I'm connecting to some sort of internet now, because just what you said is I actually make something called psd.tips.
Oh,
another little thing that I made. Isn't that a cool domain name?
Is there a website where you have all of your links?
Well, I mean, if you go to flarup.co, that's kind of like my personal thing where I have all the different projects that I do. I have the different companies I've made or worked for. So that gives also the talks. If there's any talks coming up, or if people want me to go and talk at their place, their workplace, or university or whatever, lots of stuff on flarup.co. But I wanted to show you guys. This is pretty cool. So I made this also, by the way, check out my awesome selfie here. But I do this little series called PSD Tips, which is kind of like
some of a hipster era or something.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, just kind of like I show people how to make things, right? How I work with them in my own work, and sometimes it's just a little shortcut, or sometimes it's like how to work with the pen tool, or things that new designers might have oh, I didn't know this. Even I've actually had really seasoned designers sort of write me and tell me, wow, I didn't know that you could do this. I've been using Photoshop for 10 years, right? And I learn sometimes I learn from them. They're like, oh, you could do this much easier in the comments, and then I have to make a video about that. So it's kind of like this fun little series, and you can find more about this domain name, but also the YouTube channel.
Okay, what is it?
PSD.tips.
PSD.tips.
Probably the best domain name ever for that. I was so thrilled when I got it. I bought it a long time ago.
All right. Let me put that in here.
Yep. Rufus, you should fix your hair. That's what they're saying.
Oh, is it?
I don't know what's going on there.
Can you fix it for me? Stop. What's wrong with my hair? Can I get makeup?
Makeup. We'll be right back after these messages. We don't have commercials? No? Oh, damn it.
So what is it? What is it?
PSD.tips.
Tips. Come on already. Makeup.
I love how these are the comments.
Okay. Oh. Michael is messing with us.
That's good.
All right.
Okay. So yeah.
all right.
Any other questions? Anything you guys want to talk about?
No, it's your time.
My time.
Yeah, it's your time, and we
Okay.
have another 10 minutes left with you.
Whoa! We spent an hour already.
Yep.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Time flies when you're having fun.
Yeah.
You guys have any questions? Anything you want me to talk about? 'Cause
Well, now they're just all about fixing my hair. So I think maybe what could be interesting is look at some of your work, and maybe that you talk a little bit about the process or
Sure.
what it is you did.
yeah. There's someone asking about Justin Messel. So it's Messel. You can find him at justinmessel.com.
Oh.
I've never actually met him, but
Okay.
shout out to Justin. He's
All right.
I know he's a really cool guy. Does some amazing color work. I mean, check out his stuff. It's gorgeous. So yeah, showing some work. I mean, yeah, I can show you something fun. So I make lots of little side projects. I always try to encourage people to do side projects. I think it's the hack.
You also have a lot of little sites.
Yeah, lots of little things around the internet. So this is my thing about content, right? The internet is a wonderful place, and when you make content, whatever little piece of content, a side project, an Instagram photo or whatever, it's kind of like you're igniting like a flame in a flammable room. You never really know when it's gonna blow up. Like just having that little spark every time you put content on the internet. So I think you should be prolific. I think you should make a lot of things. And then you never know what these things might lead to. I've got so many crazy stories where I've done something for fun, like a wallpaper or whatever, and it's just led to a multi-year experience and adventure of making something with awesome people. So this is another fun little thing I made, App Icon Wars. I thought, what would happen if you kind of tried to make Star Wars characters as app icons? I know, with the app icons again, right? It's my own fault with the app icons, but they kind of turned out to into this little side project where you have all these characters, and I get to play with like this advanced rendering and lighting. And the idea is to, when you remove the contours of an object, can you still tell what it is, and how does that work out in that restricted canvas? So lots of little fun stuff there. Really cool little things you can check out, appiconwars.com. There's prints also.
There's also some questions about advice on how to best export icons for iOS and Android.
Yeah. So actually I didn't show this, right, but in the template, just jumping back to my template here, there's some actions that comes bundled with the template. So it couldn't be more easy. First of all, remember on iOS you can't have transparency in the icons that you deliver.
Yes.
It's full bleed. So there's a bunch of actions that comes with many of my templates that just makes it really easy to export. I'm going to show you how. It goes quickly, so follow along. Find the action called Square Icon Export All. I just hit that action, and I just choose a place to save it. Save. And we're done. That was it. All of them. So I'll show you. There's a folder here, App Icon Squared. Here's all the different sizes that you need to bundle with your app. And even for the developers out there, the template comes with a JSON file and an app icon set folder. And if you don't know what that is, don't worry. But if you're a developer, you know what that is. If you drop these things in here and you drop this entire folder into Xcode, all the icons will just populate automatically.
Oh, wow.
So that's, again, with the templates. I spent a lot of time kind of thinking about and getting feedback from people who are much smarter than me about how would we improve the workflow? How can we make this thing better, right? And that's also what I want from people subscribing to Applied Pixels.
No, this truly makes it very, very fast. And you mentioned iOS, but there's,
on Android, it's the same deal, actually.
Yeah.
But transparency is allowed on Android. But I mean, I could do a different demo on those, but we don't have time today. But I think, again, go to Apply Pixels, because really one of the things that I do there is every template that I release has a video with it. A video where I just kind of very quickly I show off how to use that template. And it might be like 5 minutes or 10 minutes. I just kind of give a very easy to follow breakdown. The whole idea is that I want everyone from seasoned veteran to complete. I've only opened up Photoshop once to be able to do these things. So yeah.
So basically, this is also this is where the icons get created in that Photoshop document, and we've seen that Michael actually uses a sketchbook to actually sketch his ideas out, and I think this should be in every creative professional's tool set is paper and a pen.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
that's
definitely.
that's the easiest way from your brain to an idea.
Yeah, and you avoid a lot of other things, as we talked about before. It's when you do those very low fidelity things. Even if you're, I know designers are always like, when you tell people that you're a designer, people instantly think that you can draw, which is
That's true.
really
Yeah,
not
yeah.
the case, right? Many of us, we're not very good at drawing,
Yeah.
myself included. So it takes a long time to sort of become confident in showing and using it as a work tool, right? But do it, trust me. I mean, yeah, go to my YouTube channel. I have a whole video just about that, trying to sort of really get
About
people to start
sketching.
sketching. About sketching.
Yeah.
It's I would definitely, if you have any doubts about sketching, go and watch that. I think I try to make the case really well for these things here. Yeah, let's see if I can find. I've got a lot of weird stuff on my YouTube channel. Sorry about that, guys. Design with me. If you go there, find this whole thing. I've got this thing called Design with Me, where I did an iOS app icon for a client, and I spent a good half of that video just kind of showing sketches and talking about why I ultimately sketch. So.
And
that's cool.
yes, and the benefit of having sketches to show to a client is, of course, that it leaves the client's options open. Because if a client sees something too crisp, something too finished, it almost looks like the designer already made the decision.
Yeah.
Which is partly true, because designers make the decision
We do that,
very
right?
early on.
Yeah.
When I design something, I know, okay, this is it.
Yeah, this is going to look like this.
This is going to be
Yeah.
it. But then you have to sort of fool the client to think that they have a choice.
Yeah.
Right? Do you do that too?
Of course. I mean, we do that, right? I think I'm very honest about the process on those YouTube channels, and I take the time to sort of go into my thought process about these things. And sometimes, sure, you kind of you initially just know this is going to be a great concept, and you reverse engineer that a little bit,
that's our
and you
job,
nudge them.
right?
You, as a designer, particularly as a freelance designer, you're essentially a professional mind reader. That's what you're doing. You're supposed to figure out what the other person really
thinking like
wants, right?
like
Without
this,
them maybe knowing how to articulate it. So that's a huge part of being a designer. Yeah.
So many people are asking, do we have okay, in the chat there's so your main website is
Yeah, I'm sorry. I've got a lot of websites, guys.
Yes.
If you go to flarup.co, you
Okay.
kind of get like a branching web of all sorts of other stuff. You can find my Twitter profile, my Dribble profile, my YouTube profile, Behance, for those of you who use that, Instagram, and so forth. And a kind of an overview of what I'm involved in right now. Quite a lot of weird things, and yeah, some of the products I've made, my upcoming talks right now. This is the last real tour of 2016.
Okay.
But I'm always I had this thing in 2013 where I wrote a Medium blog post about it, where I say yes to almost everything. So I really love going out there, because we have a job that's looking into a screen 10 hours a day. So doing these sorts of things is just, I think
refreshing.
It's refreshing. They're amazing.
And
So,
especially here at AdobeMAX, where there's 10,000 creative professionals right now, today.
It's been
for
crazy.
3 days.
It's been crazy. I've been to a lot of conferences. I've done this a while now. There's nothing that really compares to Max. Max is like, it is the Disneyland of
How many
conferences.
years have you come to Max?
Oh, this is only my second year at
Your
Max.
second
Yeah,
year,
it's my
okay.
second year at Max.
Okay.
It was in LA last year, and this year it's in San Diego. I much prefer San Diego.
Yes.
And I hope that I'll be back next year. So to talk about game design or something else.
Yeah. Great. We have about a minute and a half left. So remember that the best experience to watch these live streams that we do from Adobe is on AdobeLive.com, because we've really set up a good experience to actually view a schedule, to watch the keynotes, the replays. If you've missed the beginning of Michael's talk right now, if you joined in later, as soon as we finish, boom, it's going to be on available here inside of AdobeLive.com. And there's also ways to to engage with us on Twitter, etc. So I congratulate the winners, and thank you for my hair. Just to make me aware that something was wrong with my hair. So we fixed that. Michael helped me to fix that.
Yeah.
And we're going to be back in exactly 5 minutes with more live greatness from AdobeMAX 2016 here on AdobeLive.com.
Sweet.
See you then.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you. Thanks, guys.